Mum, don't watch this.
Yeah.
Bodybuilding is a game of extremes.
Here's how to save 5 years of your life spinning your wheels because I've done all of this.
Common mistake, over-reliance on supplements. It was unnecessarily hard.
Yeah.
It was
The harder you go, the better the results get. So
Training, it was like I genuinely believed I had to do certain movements in a particular order or it wouldn't work. Like,
I ate so much chicken over the several months. The thought of eating chicken, I used to be like I could feel like I'm going to be sick here.
I'll eat less on purpose to avoid doing my steps. And so
I'm Ryan Stevens.
Dr. Taylor Waters.
I'm Ben Oliver.
Welcome to the Superhuman Show, yeah?
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Superhuman Show with your host, Ben Oliver, the Doc, Taylor Waters, and special guest, Sully.
yes.
Sullivan.
Captain Sully.
Captain
I'm
Sully.
back. I'll take captain, the dog and the cap.
I'm back. So today, Coach Confessions. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned.
I have sinned. By God, I've sinned a lot.
You've screwed me on this topic for this.
It was a pivot one, that's why I made it.
Could Oni or Sully? We'll get Sully on.
I was good.
Yeah.
Mum, don't watch this.
Yeah. But no, so we'll keep it PG. But just, going through some things that we've done when it comes to training, nutrition, supplements, and just like the random things. I guess like competing is a good one because it's just such a bizarre spectacle.
But I think you take it for granted, don't you? Like, we're all really experienced now, but as people think, oh, these guys know what they're talking about. Some people might. These guys know what they're talking about, but we've gone through the ringer.
Yeah.
From like, we've gone through the whole complete novice, and we've just spent the time and gone through. And looking back, there's been loads of mistakes along the way.
It's the like, obviously you can read books and you can get PhD, master's degrees. But I think the way that we've accumulated the approach that we use at Superhuman now, of course we stay up to date with latest research and things, but we've accumulated that by making every mistake and then learning how not to do something.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like, here's how to save 5 years of your life spinning your wheels because I've done all of this dumb crap and I'm trying to save you the time, even though most people will still do it anyway and have to see it for themselves. But we'll do nutrition first, like just some like, I don't want to say like silly things, but it can even be like the bro. Yeah. How bro did you go?
Well, I guess, do you want me to go first? I can take this.
Go on.
I had one of my like philosophies when I was sort of in my like early bodybuilding stint was very much like it had to be hard. Like it had to be difficult. It couldn't be like easy, or it couldn't taste good. Like it had to be tough. So like things like, chicken breast, plain rice, broccoli, like that philosophy was like, I was like really rigid with that. And I remember like some guy was like drinking like Diet Coke. And I was like, what are you drinking there? Like, this guy's trying to get in shape. I'm like, you can't be drinking Diet Coke. And I remember giving him like this big lecture about how like, you can't drink this. And looking back, I'm like, oh, like you were so sucked into that lifestyle of like, it's got to be water. And if it tastes somewhat good, you're never going to get in shape doing that. And then I was at like plowing 500 grams of rice. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to get in shape doing this.
You've got to cut reduced fat and sugar, tomato ketchup 4 weeks out from your show. Yeah. Because that's going to be the difference maker, that 5 calories.
Like as soon as someone was doing something somewhat enjoyable in their diet, nah, that's not it.
I think that was similar to me. Like the nutrition thing, it's like, it was the whole, in order to get lean, your carbs need to go that low. Yeah. And it's like, okay, so I'll just eat fish and green beans.
Yeah,
fish and broccoli or fish and asparagus.
I definitely had the belief for a while, like sugar makes you fat. Like, because I think it might have even been like precision nutrition, but they would always talk about like not eating carbs and fats at the same meal. Yeah. And it was the old like insulin hypothesis theory where it's like, if you eat fat and carbs at the same time, insulin spikes and then you store the fat. Yeah. When really it was, if they had just said, don't eat your carbs and your fats with the same meal, spread them out so you got bigger meals, There's no point having like a real calorie dense meal and then nothing on the next one. It's like, yeah, that's reasonable. So I was always low carb in terms of my diets, and it would be to the point that I was so used to low carbs. If I had like a bowl of like oats or like porridge before training, I'd have to take a nap within 30 minutes. Like I was so sensitive to carbs that I would just like get this big insulin dump and just be like, I need to take a nap. And so I'd never eat carbs before I trained, or always kept them really, really low. And my protein was like 400 grams from solid food. No shakes, because like again, I thought shakes were bad.
Shakes is not real protein.
Got to get it from Whole Foods, and so it would be like 6 meals a day. 60 to 70 grams of protein per meal without fail. And if I missed a meal, I'd be stressing, and like I'd be annoyed, and I'd be like, I'd double up on the next meal. I was like, how much chicken is that?
Mate, I remember I used to buy from like Costco or something like that. It was a 5 kilo box of chicken, of like raw chicken breast. And I used to fly through it so fast. Because again, I was like minimum 350 grams of protein a day. And normally it would shoot, because I was like, the more protein I'm having, the better.
Yeah.
And I remember I ate so much chicken over the period of like several months. I remember the thought of eating chicken, I used to be like, oh, like I could feel like I'm going to be sick here. Like this is, and it's like you've overcooked chicken so bad that it's like, there's no way that I can do this.
It's, you look back and you go, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
Like, it's that classic situation. It's what you said. It's like, why did I need that much chicken? Why did I have to eat on the half an hour every 2 hours? So like, that's another one for me, is like those meal timings that you were like, it has to be.
You were like a
Pavlov's
Pavlov's dog. Like you'd be salivating 5 minutes before. And if you missed the meal, you go hypo. Because you're so used to it.
You condition yourself. It's I have to get 178 grams of chicken in at 11:30 or the world's going to end. It's like, no, you'll be all right.
I did the first show I did. I didn't really weigh my food. Didn't track it, didn't really understand macros. All I knew was like, I'm gonna cut my carbs, like not eat any white foods. It was like no rice, no pasta, no breads. And it was basically like chicken and veg, for the majority of it. And then about 6 weeks out from the show, again, I was the leanest I'd ever been, because I'm not naturally lean. But then I was also thinking like, I'm not ready. Like I'm behind. And I saw a YouTube video of Kevin Leroni and eating fish and green beans. And he's like, it was tilapia, but it's like, we don't really have tilapia in the UK. There's white fish and green beans like 5 times a day. And I said, I'm going to do that. If he does that, I'm going to do that.
Ben Leroni.
And so I ate white, like I would get frozen pollock, which was like £1.50 for the UK. For the US guys, $2, like about $2. A frozen pack of it, which is like 500 grams frozen. I would put it in like boiling water to cook it, and then I would boil green beans, and I would eat that 4 times a day with no seasoning, no salt, because I thought salt was bad. I didn't want to hold water or anything. And so I was probably eating about 650 calories a day, maybe 750, and I did that for 6 weeks straight. And at the time, I was working 12-hour security shifts, days, and then to like 3 days and then 3 nights, doing my cardio in a car park, just walk around. But the one thing that I always admired of myself back then was like, fuck me, you were willing to do what it took. Because if I had to do that to get in shape now, I'd throw in the towel. I'd go, fuck it, it's not worth it.
It is 100%.
But I wanted it so bad that it's like I would have not eaten for a week, like if it meant that I was gonna do well.
It's almost like that ignorance and it being
ignorance
new,
is bliss,
right?
Oh,
it was absolute, because I was the same. It's like what you've just said. It's like you almost thought it had to be hard. It's like, well, if I want to get on that stage, it's got to be hard. And I was similar to you. It was like 4 to 6 weeks of just that. And if I look back at those calories, 600-700 calories across the day, working full 12-hour shift, and I had, like living in an apartment at the time, a storage unit down in the car park that was probably like 6 foot by 3 foot. Nothing else fitted in there apart from the elliptical. right? And it was freezing cold in the mornings, and I would go down before work at like 5 a.m., shut the door in there, and be on that for an hour. And then you're eating fish and green beans for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was unnecessarily hard.
Yeah.
It was so dumb.
But the harder you go, the better the results get. So it's just like in like your head, you're like, I'm just gonna.
And then the funny thing was, I looked like the leanest I had ever looked. And
I bet you looked like a string bean as well.
Oh, completely wasted away. Couldn't get a pump like again, just like
trying to pump up fish and beans.
But then so my dad competed in natural bodybuilding, and so I was like, a week out, and I was like, what do I do for my like peak? Because I've read, you carb up, you cut your water, and all these things. And he gave me a plan, which I love you, Dad, but it was the completely wrong plan. Bear in mind that I'd had like no carbs. I did like 3 days drinking dextrose and like eating like rice at every meal. And I think I gained like 9 pounds or something. And I was still lean on show day, but I was like, I looked better last week. And I was like, I literally drinking like 100-gram dextrose drinks.
I used to do that post workout.
Yeah, but I was just like, but again, I was so carb deprived. It actually tasted nice because I hadn't had anything sweet in so long. Yeah. But like to my point, when you were saying about the chicken, I couldn't eat white fish or green beans for about 6 years after that. Like the thought of green beans, I was like, don't put
you
them
can
near
almost
me.
feel like in your throat, you're like, oh God.
I'm the same with Jack Daniels, but that's a different confession. It's like I can't go near that stuff.
Because I overcooked that for 6 weeks.
I overcooked that for about 10 years, not 6 weeks. But what you said there, I think that's another really kind of common mistake. What you said about like dextrose, like supplements. Like over-reliance on supplements, right? Like when I first started, it was like, I have to have BCAAs. I have to have CLA. I have to have all of the...
CLA, God, I remember that.
I have to have all of these different supplements. And if I didn't have that during the workout, if I didn't have that 10 minutes after the workout, if I didn't sleep, like, it's just over-reliance on stuff that I was eating whole foods. I was good.
And some of these, there's going to be crossover because we've all come from a bodybuilding background. So like there's going to be crossover and the bulking one. So it was like, you got to eat big to get big. Like if you want to get big, you got to eat big. Gee, mate, I used to put away some food. My Lord.
You still do.
Yeah. Mate, I used to have this thing in the morning that I used to call the pie. And it was, mate, it was gross. It was like, I basically get a blender and I would put whole eggs, like 2 scoops of whey, 2 bananas, peanut butter, like 100 grams of oats, blast the thing up with whole milk and just blend it. It was 3 shakers, 1.5 liters, and it was rank. It used to taste horrible, and I chin all 3.
I did the exact same thing, but without the whey, and I would add double cream to it. for the extra calories.
Mate, if you put it in the oven, it would have been a pie. It would have cooked and gone.
I literally did 2 shakes a day, and it would be like 200 grams of oats, like a pint of a pint of whole milk, 2 bananas, 6 whole eggs, and like 2 massive tablespoons of peanut butter twice a day. I would train. And then I'd go to Mackey's and have 6 double cheeseburgers.
6 double cheese. We were calling you double cheese.
Yeah.
The
funny thing is, though, is like my digestion was fine. Like, and I could eat those 6 double cheeseburgers and feel fine. I could like go train.
You did
afterwards.
look fine.
God, like, but then
you look like a pregnant snake.
Heart health was great.
Even now, like if I ate like McDonald's on 2 days in a row, I know I've eaten McDonald's. Like I can feel it in my body, and my pants are saturated. So like
I'm walking around in a diaper.
We can also smell it.
But like I genuinely didn't care about, like all I thought was like eat more food.
Yeah.
Like all you have to do is,
as long as it was clean.
Yeah.
It was clean, you're good.
Well, no, I didn't give a shit about that. I was just like, no, I would eat anything.
It's really common because again, it's like it's almost that comparison to pros or comparison to people that you see online. It's like, I'm smashing 6,000 calories a day.
Yeah.
But if I ate 6,000, I'd be like him.
Yeah. It's completely irrelevant to you and your individual like lifestyle, like what you consume, what you actually need. Like people think they need, in every aspect to do way more than what they need to do. It's like, you don't need to be in that much of a surplus to be gaining good quality muscle tissue and staying lean.
Yeah.
I remember
they just pick an arbitrary number, 5,000 calories a day. Yeah. It's like, where's that come from?
Yeah. When I was at university, this was when like T Nation was really popular online, and they were trying to sell their This was when like casein hydrolysate had just come out, and like I think the brand was like Pepto Pro, which is like basically like essential amino acids, but a complete protein that mixes like water, really really fast absorbed. And so they were trying to sell their product, and he come up with like the Pulse Feast diet, which was you had 2 shakes during the day of Pepto Pro, and then you eat whatever you want at night. And it's like you're trying to lose weight, then it's like your meal is like, vegetables and protein first and then dessert. And if you're trying to gain, you eat whatever you want. And I did it for like 8 weeks at university. Lost like 30 pounds, like worked great. And in my head, I was like, it's because I'm doing these protein pulses and I'm eating when it's like, anabolic at night and all of this stuff. And really it was just, I was eating 1,500 calories a day and I just got used to it. But one, I wasn't putting salt or electrolytes in my drinks. So I was getting really cold and fatigued during the day. But I think the funny thing is in the UK, we have what's called double concentrate squash, which is it's like the equivalent of like mayo flavoring for water. Like you guys have it over here.
It's like a syrup, like a grenadine they have here, isn't it? It's
like
a syrup
kind of like that. And so I would have to mix the Pepto Pro with that because it was so bitter. You need to put double concentrate with it just to get rid of the taste. Yeah. And so I would use a double concentrate bottle, like a used one, for my drinks to take to university because it was the amount of water that I needed. This is cool. And then I got to university and I was drinking one of them and I was like, that's a bit sharp, that one. I was like, and so I added a bit of water to it and I was like sipping it. I was like, that's still a bit like I really can't taste the bitterness. This one. I was like, oh, drank it, and then 30 minutes later I was like, and I was like, oh fuck. And then anyway, like proceeded to just. The world fell out of my ass, like, for hours afterwards. And then I get home and then I go to make my next one and I'm looking at the double concentrate bottle and I was like, that's a bit pale. And I had realized I had drank 1.5 liters of double concentrate squash.
That's so right.
So like if you can imagine filling up 1.5 liters of mayo flavoring and just drinking it and just chinning it.
That's evidence to show that sweeteners aren't going to kill you.
Yeah.
Because if you drink a liter and a half of double
I would have been one of the rats of the aspartame studies. But it was horrendous.
That concept of like, the late night eating. Remember when carb backloading came around?
That was John Kiefer.
Yeah.
So you just vanished, by the way.
Yeah.
Completely disappeared.
So you would go basically protein and fats during the day. There were other like more specific concepts, like, you would train at a certain time, you would supplement with caffeine and things like this. But in general, it's protein and fats in the day. In the evening, then you do a big carb load. And again, it was similar. Like if you're trying to bulk, you can eat basically whatever, as many carbs as you can.
Cherry turnovers was his thing. Yeah.
And I remember my mate was following this. This isn't my confession, but I'm going to confess for him. I remember he was following it to a T. He was having like the bulletproof coffees with coffee with the coconut oil and all through the day. And then he'd get in it, even just like blast a box of like Krispy Kremes, just smash them. And then like one day we were like, oh, we're going to get a curry. And he was like, oh, I really want a curry, but because on days you don't train, you don't get your carb load.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, fuck, I'm dying for a curry. He went, oh, got down, did 3 sets of press-ups. I went, yeah, I'll have a curry, go on. And I was like, mate, that's cheating the system. Justified. 3 sets of press-ups and a lamb boona with a naan bread. I was like, mate, no way, you ain't having that.
I did that for a while as well. It's funny because then... and I genuinely thought that was legit, like because he put like 400 studies at the end of his ebook.
The science, it was very bad.
And when you actually look at it, all of those studies are completely irrelevant to what he was talking about. Yeah. But then Alex Viada, the OG hybrid. Alex, who will never listen to this podcast, but he debunked it, and he was like, "You're basically describing every sorority girl's diet." University, drink coffee all day, eat pizza at night. Like that's how they stayed thin. Yeah. And I was like, huh. And then he's like, it's calories in, calories out. Like you're just choosing to eat your carbs at night. And I was like, yeah, that does make sense. Yeah. And then but I think from like a practical standpoint, it's quite good. Like if you want to manage your intake and have a bigger meal at night, like cool. But it was the belief that you had is like, if I have carbs for breakfast, I'm going to get fat. Yeah. And I genuinely believed it. And it's like it was I'll ruin my day if I have carbs before my last meal. Like it was like and it's like I would take that to my grave. Like I genuinely believe that so much. But I think like the good thing about all of us is that we've been like willing to be educated.
Yes.
And like I've always been open to changing my opinion on something if there's evidence there, or I try it and it works or whatever. Otherwise, I'd still be, drinking coconut bulletproof coffee and Pepto Pro and double concentrate.
Squash.
But like, yeah, I mean, I think most of the diet ones have just been like extremes because that's just how you thought that it had to be. But
well, again, bodybuilding is a game of extremes. So it's like there's always, but it's a game of extremes, and no offense, stupid people. So there's stupid people doing extreme things, but then because they're good at it, you listen to them and you're like, oh, well, maybe that's what I need to do. And then you realize then, this is...
I think that was one of the first things on a training side of things when you go like confessions, is more is better. It was like the longer I spend in the gym, the more progress I'm going to make. That was like, and now it's just like, get your minimal effective dose, get in and get out, and do your work as quick as you can.
Mate, I've had tendonitis in so many tendons, like my shoulders, my elbows, my knees, everywhere. Just like because my volume was so high. Because again, it was the harder I train, and by to train harder, say, oh well, I'll just go to failure on every set, and I'll do like 40 sets, and I'll just keep going and going.
I think like it's not really even like a confession, but again, it's like most of my things have just been silly beliefs.
Yeah.
Where like the actual execution, it's like I wasn't doing something completely bizarre, but it was just like
you drank 1.5 liters of double concentrated squash. I wasn't doing anything bizarre.
Accidents happen. But training, it was like I genuinely believed that I had to do certain movements in a particular order or it wouldn't work, kind of thing. And it was like you had to do push downs and skull crushes and single arm reverse tricep extensions, and you had to do bench and then incline and then decline and then you fly and then you cable, and it was like a set thing. Like, and if heaven forbid I miss my incline, then my upper chest isn't going to grow. And I would like sit in the gym for like 40 minutes waiting for a piece of equipment. It's like, well, I can't do my flies because I've got incline next. And I would like be like real OCD over it, of like, and it took quite a while to break that. And I think, and it was probably from accident of like, oh, like I haven't been able to do this because I've injured myself and nothing's changed. Yeah. Maybe I don't need to do it. But, and like now it's like I'm pretty flexible with my training. Like even if I feel off on a certain day, or I do one set and I'm like, it feels like shit today, I'm going to do something else. But like I had zero auto-regulation or like intuitiveness. Like even like when I was doing the fish and green beans and I couldn't even get a pump in the gym, it's like 20 sets of chest today. So I mean, there's nothing there. Like it's like you're barely benching the bar.
You're doing 20 sets of chest and living off green beans and one white fish. Like there's not a pump. There's nothing. Nothing you can get. I think we're all on the same page in terms of like we've had a sort of off-camera discussions in terms of like cringy things we were chatting up on this travel thing over. God, Sal, I guess you could start with it. So. Cringy things that, like, looking back, like, oh no, like, what was I doing?
Gonna go back to the bodybuilding days, because I think that's when you just most blinkered and just like head in the sand. It's just that's all I think about. It's all I do. It's all I'm focused on.
You forget that it's a very
it's so niche
sport.
Like even as of late, it's become way more popular with Instagram. You just go back like 8 years, and it was a lot even more niche then as well.
Like I remember like traveling up to London for a show or traveling somewhere, and it's like you're stopping in the service station like we did the other day, and you're going in the bathroom, dropping your pants, pulling up your top and taking a picture, going, oh, I'm going to check my condition. You left the house 45 minutes ago. You got no bladder control because you're doing 8 years of water. You've not changed in that 45 minutes, but it's like, I must check. You're in the... I've got so many selfies or like pictures on the phone.
You're in like Milton Keynes services with your pants around your ankles, posing in the toilets. What are you doing?
And it's walking through with fake tan all over you.
Yeah.
Like it's completely normal.
And then you're like, why is everyone staring at me?
Yeah.
It's like, because you look like an Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
Mate, like, so when I applied for my PhD, I had to do an interview with the professors at the uni. And the interview was like on a Wednesday. I competed on the Saturday or the Sunday. So, and like, I wasn't one of these to scrub my tan off. I would just leave it fall off over time.
That's because you don't shower.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I literally walked into the interview like with patches of tan, like a cow. I've gone in like that with patches and just walked in, sat down. So this big like that, all right? And they're like, this cow wants to do a PhD. Like, what's going on here?
And you probably put some cows on between the show and that
And
day
I
as
was
well.
buffet.
Oh, Moonface has walked in.
And my supervisor told me about a year later. She was like, I thought you had that skin condition where, what's it called? When you've
Like
got
the pigments.
yeah, your pigment is all off. And I was like, oh no, that was just like parts of tan had peeled off me. And I'd walked into an interview now. I was like, this is your life we're going for here. And I just walked in like, yeah, whatever. Like, they don't care. Yeah. It's so bizarre.
I had when I was doing my undergrad in sports biomedicine, I competed twice.
Yeah.
And after the second show, I binged, and it was like on a Saturday, and I had lectures on like the Monday or the Tuesday, and I'd already gained about 15 pounds, but it was like all water, and I went in, and my my face was like, I looked Asian, like, and I sat down, and everyone was just like, what the fuck? Because literally on the Friday, it was like sucked in, and they're like, Ben, what have you done? Like, have you had an allergic reaction to something? I was like, no, I've just eaten 16 cheesecakes. Like,
His face is full of bee stings.
oh, it was like, but it felt so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But I mean, I used to have, I had one, I can't remember what show this was, and it was one of the shows where you get tanned at the venue.
Yeah.
Because normally I'd do Dream Tan or something, you had to put on layers and stuff, and so you would obviously like shave and everything prior. And I must have had like such bad diet fatigue that I had like shaved and I completely forgot to shave my pubes. And then I literally got in my car to go to the show. And I was like, hang on a minute. And I was like, if I put on these pants, it's like, you're going to look like Borat. Like, and
like a 70s
I literally had to
flexing.
rush back home and be like, right, have I actually like prepped for this show? But then I was thinking, and I was literally having nightmares like for the show after that of like rocking up, having not shaved and wearing my socks on stage. And I would literally have nightmares over it. And I'd like check and be like, oh, no, I haven't got socks on. It was horrendous.
We say about posing. I remember, like when you are bodybuilding, you think posing is like normal. You think that like everyone does pose in practice.
Yeah.
And I remember going in the gym we used to train at. This is in Exercise for Less. This was in the room upstairs. So I walked into like basically it's like a room that they've got
Exercise studio, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like a gym
it's a studio. So there's big mirrors, the lighting's good. Oh, I'll just go up there and pose. And you walk in there, and there was like a woman in there, I don't know, like in her 40s. I'm just like, you mind if I do some posing practice? And she's obviously like, yeah, whatever. Like, what the hell is that? Just said, yeah. So go in, like, pants right round the ankles, like not the top off. She's probably like, oh my, what the hell is going on? I mean, she left not long after. Out there, next to her, the manager comes up, and he's like, oh, we've had a complaint about you. I'm like, what? And I'm standing there in my pants. And I'm like, what? I'm like, a woman came downstairs and said, you walked in and just pulled out your ass. And I was like, huh? No, look, I'm posing. Like, look, see? And I was like, oh, mate. And in my head, I was like, what an idiot that woman is. Like, what do you mean just showed her my ass? But like in hindsight, looking back, like a bloke's come in and said, like, do you mind if I do posing practice? Yeah. She's gone like, yeah, not really knowing. And I've whipped my kit off, like pulled my pants up my butt because I'm trying to get like shredded glutes. And I'm like flexing it. Like, so like in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, you are an absolute moron of a bloke.
Mate, in hindsight, we changed gyms quite quickly after that. That's why we changed.
Swiftly left.
You got banned.
That's
right. That was it, yeah.
Did you have any because I remember one show I had to make weight because I was in the middleweights, and that was I was like spitting into a cup, and because I was already dehydrated and I already had my tan on, so I couldn't sweat. Otherwise I would have just like worn a bin bag or something and I would have been fine, but I couldn't. I was literally like spitting into a cup, had like no more water to pass. Literally Ryan had to hold a towel around me whilst I weighed because I was like, even my shorts are like.
Did you have the pubes by this point?
Yeah, I literally made weight by 100 grams. Like, and so it was like even my shorts were like even your posing trunks weighed that.
Yeah.
And it was like after that whole ordeal, I didn't even want to step on stage. I was like, I feel for fighters that have to make weight because that was so horrendous. And then I was like, I just want to go home now and drink water.
You had to stand there doing 5 minutes of posing. They got to go 12 rounds or something hitting them in the face.
Literally, horrendous.
I used to make weight for classic. That was a stress. That was because it's that like because my clap was like 82 kegs or whatever. It's like if I miss weight by a kilo and I'm 83 kegs, I'm now in the under 90s open bodybuilding class where I'm going to look like a small child. Yeah. So I'm like, it was such a panic every time. Even though like I was on weight like 3 weeks out, it would still just weigh on you. Like, but what if I miss? What if I miss? Because you don't want to go down too low, otherwise you're looking small. So you want to be close to weight. But then it's like, but what if their scales are a bit different to mine and I end up going over? And oh God, yeah. The stress that used to cause was a shambles. I tell you, one of, this is, again, and it all ties to bodybuilding. I remember I used to, because you're drinking so much water constantly, you're always going to the bathroom. And my toilet was downstairs. So it would disrupt my sleep all the time because I've got to get up at night to go to the bathroom.
I know where this is going.
This is tatters. I shouldn't be saying this on camera, but I'm going to anyway. So basically, in fact, I can actually show you. I used to do this. I used to lie in bed like this.
Oh no!
And I used to have a bottle here like this. So I'd sleep like this, and then when I need to go to the toilet, I used to go onto my side like this. And I used to because if I got up, because if I got up, I would obviously break my sleep. So I'm trying to stay like semi-sleeping. I've got the bottle here, and I'm weeing into the bottle like this. And then I would go put it back down, and I would go back to sleep. And I just basically fill this big bottle up overnight and end up walk downstairs in the morning, pour it down the toilet.
One of the worst things I've ever seen.
I was really single at the time. Really single. How bad is that? Yeah, I shouldn't have told anyone that. I don't know why I have.
Yeah. It's the last episode. But,
I tell my clients to do that when they're like, mate, I can't drink this water. I'm like, take a bottle to bed with you, mate. Just piss in it. Just piss in it. Just piss in it, bro.
Roll into the recovery position.
You don't even have to get up, mate.
Sully, because
I can't top that.
No, I think that one caps it off. Because I think you've done more shows than me and Taylor.
Yeah, I think I've done about 15, 16.
What's the most kind of like bizarre thing you've tried to like improve your look or something? Because I know because some guys would be like drink white wine or vodka before you pump up, and there used to be loads of like they're almost old wives' tales like steak and red wine before, or like you dehydrate. And have you done anything which you're kind of like you look back and you're like who come up with that?
Well, definitely, I've done the steak and red wine the night before. I've done the shot of vodka or two before going out on stage.
That's a bizarre one.
Yeah.
It's just before going out.
It's really bizarre. It's 10 minutes before you go on stage.
I've seen a bloke do that, and he almost threw up on stage, and his tan was sweating off his face into his mouth, and so when he was posing, he was like. Just like splurting out this like fake tan, and I was like, he's had a stinker.
You're being judged on your appearance.
I was genuinely sat in the crowd, and I literally pointed out. I said, he's had a howler for this one, and it was just like he just had streaks coming down him, and it was just like, I don't know what you've done here, but it's not right.
That's that shot of Vardy before
I've seen a guy. I've seen a guy backstage, and this was because I was helping out one of my friends who was like enhanced bodybuilder, a natural bodybuilder. And there was a guy backstage, and as he was pumping up, he had one of his friends feeding him donuts, and the other one pinning him with insulin. Just like in like
what a team.
About 3 different shots of insulin. He had about 4 Krispy Kremes for pumping up. And I tell you what, he looked fucking class, and he won. And I was like, who taught you that?
What a trick!
Oh yeah,
I wasn't that invested.
No, I mean, but like for me, because like I mean, back then I was like a natural bodybuilder, and I had like a massive like because the way my dad kind of brought me up was kind of like steroids is cheating.
Yeah,
and And so when I saw that, I was like, this is another level. You know, all I see backstage is people eating rice cakes. And it's like, this guy's eating donuts and injections.
Injecting insulin into himself.
Like, ridiculous. But you see some crazy shit.
Yeah, it's a bizarre world. It's a very, very bizarre world. Like, it's just one of those things that you kind of like, when you step away from it and you look back. I remember it was just one funny story. We competed, I think it was one of the first shows we did. And I'm standing there and you're in your trunks and I'm posing. And all I hear from like the audience, because you can't see because all the lights are on you, and you went, cracking physique 116. I'm just like, that's just a grown bloke shouting at me from a crowd, just admiring my
your body.
And it's just like, you go away going, that's weird. Like, I don't know. It's just, it's a strange world.
The chants you hear from the crowd. There was a guy, like when guys do a back shot and then they haven't tensed their glutes, and you've got like like 50 glutes, glutes, just like shouting like your ass, tense your ass, tense your ass. Yeah,
I think but I think the reason why we always kind of go back to bodybuilding is because it's such an extreme.
Yeah, that's where they'll create.
It's like obviously the clients that we work with are Gen Pop, and you know they might be looking to get like sub 10% body fat, or they're doing a photo shoot or something. Like bodybuilding is like the extreme of that, and so you're always going to look at like the extremes and almost take like a regression of that. And it's like, well, if they're doing it at the extreme, then there's probably something that works for like the guys that want like the next level down. Like if Olympic weightlifters or like sprint cyclists, like even at the amateur level, they got big legs. And so you're like, there's probably something to doing lots of cycling. You're going to probably get bigger legs. And you always like, because bodybuilding, it's like, well, they got the most muscle and the lowest levels of body fat. All of our clients are looking for more muscle and lower levels of body fat. So you just kind of like regress it. Like we don't want to go that extreme, but there's probably something. But then we've been to that, you know, we're not 300-pound mass monsters, but we've like had a taste of that environment.
We've pushed it as far as we can go for us.
Yeah. But then when you look at it, you're just like, it is weird.
Oh, really
weird. Let's flip this from past confessions to confessions now that you do in your own training or nutrition. What's something that you've got now? I'll go.
Go on, you go.
Give me a prompt.
I don't train hard.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't train like I used to train. Like I'll do 2 to 3 weight sessions a week, but I won't be going anywhere near failure. My RP probably is like a 6 or a 7. It's like I'll do the minimum I can to maintain current physique.
Yeah.
Without pushing it like too hard.
Yeah. I'll eat less on purpose to avoid doing my steps. And so I'll like in my head, I'm like, well, you're probably getting about 40, 50 calories per 1,000 steps. And I'll be like, I'm at 5,000 and it's 8 p.m. And I'm like, 250 calories, just to fucking eat like just cut back on my last meal, down to do the steps then. And it's like, obviously you get loads of other benefits of doing the steps, but I'm just like, in my head, I'm just doing the math. And I mean, that's probably one of them. I undereat protein quite often. It probably all balances out where I'm eating enough, but I used to eat 250 with ease, and I'll have some days now where I might scrape 100. But then I might have a day where I have a steak or something, I'm at like 300 or something. So it kind of balances out, but I don't pay attention to it unless I'm like actively prepping for something. In my head, it's like I'm gonna assume that my habits and behaviors are enough now to not be deficient in protein. But I'm not aiming for like 1 gram per pound of body weight. Like I don't need it at this point.
But that's where it's also having that knowledge that like, if you are going to diet, it's like, I'll put it up mainly for the benefit of keeping me satiated and keeping me full, and I'll put it back in.
when to use it.
When to use that tool to put it back in.
I know mine. I've got a really poor ability to stop when I'm full, and I'll just go. I'm like a lab. I'll just go past full. Like last night, we went for pizza last night. This is a confession for you know, and I was like, I'm full after 2 slices. I want 8. More. I had 8 slices. Like mate, and every slice was you don't need another one. But there's that difference between need and want. I was like, but you want another one. And I was like, keep going. And then I'm like, oh, I'm in a coma again. And I'm like, it's so for me, like I can, that's why like if you go to my house, I almost buy just enough food to survive the week. Because if I stocked up for an apocalypse, I would be like 300 pounds in a week. Because I'm like, oh, well, then I blasted everything I got.
It's a really good thing that you brought up, because I think a lot of clients will assume
we're perfect
that
all the
you're
time.
just like, you don't have cravings for bad food. Like we were talking, like when we had pizza, like Kadani was talking about it with one of his clients, where it's like, oh man, I just got cravings, and it's like, well, you think I don't?
Yeah.
Like we all have cravings. Like we all want to not train sometimes and not do cardio and, you know, skip legs and like eat the donuts. But like the difference is we, for the majority of the time, don't act on those impulses. But it's like it's completely silly to think that coaches don't have those same, like, I mean, everyone does.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're not perfect all the time. It's just the other major difference that I would say is, like, if I choose to eat Popeyes one night and go over my calories, at no point do I go, I'm really annoyed that I'm not losing weight.
Yeah.
Because I go, you fucking ate Popeyes. Like, you know, like, I'm perfectly okay with not making progress if all of my decisions aren't like going to put me in that position.
Yeah.
I can take ownership and accountability and go, well, yeah, I've been fucking off my diet. Like, of course I'm not gonna like be making progress.
Yeah.
And then if I want to do it, I can. It's just at the moment I clearly don't want to, and I'm cool with that. And then if my weight goes up and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be here, then I turn it on, bring it back down, and then. But it's you've got full control.
That's that years of experience, though, of going through those mistakes, those trials, those errors, knowing your body, knowing what you essentially can get away with, or your sort of parameters for where you want to sit.
You waive your right to be frustrated when it's like, you know, if you were like, I'm just really annoyed, like my front squat's not going up. And I'd be like, you're fucking on the bike like 10 hours a week. What do you expect? But like, you're intelligent enough to go, well, I'm not going to be at peak leg strength because I'm doing 10 hours on the bike.
Yeah.
And if I get to a point that I'm so unhappy with my leg strength, I'll cut back on the bike and I'll improve my leg strength. But it's like, you know, you'll have guys that be like, well, I want to be an elite level powerlifter, but I want to be shredded, you know, and I want to do this at the same time, and I want to gain some muscle. And it's like, bro, like, you pick one and be okay with it.
You got to be realistic.
And don't get frustrated when you're chasing one of them and the other things aren't happening. It's like, what are you hoping to happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they're good confessions. I'm sure there'll be more in the future.
Yeah.
But I think we'll do a future episode on coach confessions or like coaching confessions. What have you said to clients where maybe you were like first starting out as a personal trainer that was just dog shit advice, and you look back and you're like, why did I recommend that person do that? Because I'm sure there'll be some absolute corkers there.
Because when you first start your job, you're not good at it.
You don't know anything.
No.
Yeah.
But if you still have the same practices and beliefs that you did 10 years ago, you are no better.
Yeah.
Like, if
Do you know, I could give you an answer to that. Is essentially like a one size fits all. It's like every bloke that came through the door, it's like he's going to get that training plan, he's going to get that, and I'm going to put him on about those calories. Where it's like you realize, there's differences in.
They should all be on push-pull legs. They should all have high proteins. They should all be eating 5 times a day. They should all
because that's what I believe in at the moment.
That's me.
That's what worked for me. That's what's going to work for them. Like I think that is one of the biggest things when you're starting off coaching.
You see that a lot.
But yeah, like if you can't look back and like, you know, 10, 15 years ago when we kind of got into this and you're like, why on earth was I doing that? Even like if I look back at like my first Loom check-ins, I'm like, oh, like this is beyond bad. Like, you know, even with, you know, maybe like new coaches that we're training up or something and I'm like, yeah, pretty good. We can just change a couple of these things. I was miles off and it's just like the worst thing I've ever seen. But then I can look back and go, well, I've improved. Whereas if I look back and go, yeah, pretty much the same as what I do now. It's like, what is going on? So that would be a good episode to cover for sure. But thank you guys. Please forgive us for our sinnage. And whilst you're doing that, be sure to like and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. And we'll see you next time.
If you love this show, please like, share, and leave us a 5-star review so that we can help more people. I'm John Madsen, Superhuman CEO, reminding you to always go get what's yours.